I don't even think they have a release date yet.
You're always going to compare the sequel to the original or the first.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Boyfriend and I just got back from the bookstore, so I started Hellbent, the audiobook, and very quickly realized I'm gonna need to see the words. Since it's like a fantasy book, I just really need to be properly engaged with what's going on. So I did pick up a copy of Hellbent. Very excited. It's gonna be an interesting reading week. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. Good morning, guys. So it is time for the first little review, or reading update, I should say. I've just been here with the cat, letting him sleep. Do you want to say hi? No? Did I wake you up? I am going to do a little review, voiceover, while you guys watch me journal, because I'm very excited to make a bullet journal spread for this book. I am obsessed with the one that I made for Ninth House back whenever it was that it came out. I'll put it on the screen. I'm basically going to try to recreate that just so that they match. I don't know, I think that would be kind of cute. So I'm going to do that. I've got some little pictures that I printed. One of them I should have made bigger. It's because you can't see the detail at all. It's fan art. I will try to link it on Pinterest or whoever. I don't know whose art it is, but it's amazing fan art. It looks like a little tarot card. It's so cool. So I'm going to do that and give you guys my thoughts so far. So even though I am only, I don't know, maybe 50 pages or so into this book, I can tell that it's got the same vibe as the first one. So if you were a big fan of Ninth House, obviously all the expectations that you have for this second one so far have been met for me. We've got the usual suspects back in action. Alex, of course, is sort of the character who we're orbiting around. We spend the most time inside her head. Dawes is still here. We've got Mercy. We actually have a new character, Turner. He's like a newbie cop who I think is going to come into play, I assume, later into the plot. Yale University is still our setting, so all of those dark academic vibes that are so scrumptious, I love them. And so they are still very present in this second book. There's actually a map at the beginning of the book of Yale. I did not reference it even once. You don't really need it. I mean, it's a cool art piece, it's cool interior art, I guess, but You don't really need it. It's not like with a lot of fantasy books where they put a map at the beginning of the book so that you can kind of orient yourself, because a lot of times with like high fantasy, which obviously Hellbent is not, but with something like high fantasy where it's a completely different world and you don't know where anything is, it can really help you not get confused as you read. But this one I found I didn't need at all. Like it wasn't really necessary, but it is in there if you just are very visual and you like to kind of see the layout of New Haven. I will say Alex is her typical self. I love her. She's one of my favorite protagonists. She's, very like rough exterior, very hard on the outside. She's got her combat boots and her witty remarks and, her sarcasm, and she's quite cold. But as we saw in the first book, if you've read it, which you will need to read before you read Hellbent, she can be very soft and she can be really hard on herself, and she can be I don't know, I love the way Bardugo writes her because she's very real. You kind of get all the grit and the sludge that is very present in real life, you get in Galaxy. And so I feel like that's what makes her so readable, and one of the things I like about her and just these books the most is just the way that she's written. There are definitely some scenes where she's like flashing back and having regrets, and it's so nice the way that she's written because she feels like an actual three-dimensional person. The main character is like your gooey little warm center that everything else in the book has to orbit around. Like everything else has to cling to that, right? Like the character is like the glue. That's like the most important piece. You don't want to go out there, it's too cold. It's very cold. Are you saying you need more food? Because you still have some in your bowl. Alright guys, so I have been absolute crap at keeping you updated on my reading. So I'm about 150 pages into Hellbent, enjoying it so far. Haven't decided yet if I like it more or less than Ninth House. I feel like that's an inevitable comparison because you're always going to compare the sequel to the original or the first. So I don't know that I'm
I was really into Ninth House. I actually I never read the physical copy. I only ever listened to the audiobook. I remember really like listening to it on the way to work every morning on my commute. And I remember like really, like really getting into it on the way to work. The story just like really captivated me. And I don't know if I'm feeling that kind of like sense of urgency every time I pick it up. I mean, the story is it's really great so far. I don't know. I'm typically the type of person who likes the original. Like I like the first book or the first movie. If it's like Harry Potter or like whatever the series is, I usually like the first thing better. I don't know why that is. I think it's because you're introduced to the characters for the first time. You're kind of getting all the vibes, and characters are getting to know each other, and I don't know, there's something about the first time everything is happening that I really like. So time will tell. I've got laundry going in the background if you can hear that. But I'm gonna hop on the treadmill. If you work a job like I do where you have to sit all day long, it's actually really nice to hop on a treadmill and go for a little stroll while you read. I'm not like jogging, I'm walking very slowly, but on an incline. So it's like two birds, one stone, because I'm able to get my little workout in for the day and feel like I moved my body a little bit, but also get my reading done. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. What are you gonna do? Ow.
I said ow.
That's mean. Don't bite mommy. Guillermo. What are you doing?
What are you doing? I know what you're licking, dude. You're licking like you got. I was trying to focus. I looked down and it's like, what the fuck are you eating?
I have real makeup on today and a makeup filter. So don't judge me, it's one of those days. Here we are with my handy dandy notebook, and it is time for me to give you guys my final thoughts on the book. Hellbent, what did I think of it? Did I like it as much as the first? Was there any major differences? What's going on? I liked the first one better, but that is okay. Sometimes, and I think I mentioned this, you know, in one of the previous clips, I just really prefer the first book of a series more. That does not mean this book sucked. This was a really great book. Was the first one before COVID? Because that makes a big difference. I feel like I had a better attention span before COVID. Anyway, so with Ninth House, thoroughly enjoyed every minute of it. I was always so ready in the morning to listen to it on my way to work because I would listen to the audiobook on my commute in the morning. This one, I didn't really feel like, there were times where I just picked it up because it's the book I'm reading, but I didn't pick it up because I'm like, oh my god, I want to find out what happens next. So yes, I gave this one, what did I give this one? I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. So it's still thoroughly enjoyable. It was, I would say, like medium pacing. Although a lot of people said there was like strong character development, and I didn't really feel like we got a lot of that. Alex is Alex, you know? She is her stubborn, you know, hell-bent, haha, self, and I feel like we didn't really see like a change in her. Now we did see a change in like Dawes and Mercy and some of the like side characters, I guess you would call them. They're kind of her sidekicks. They're a little more skittish than Alex, right? Like they don't jump into danger as quickly as she would. And so you do see them kind of like step up to the plate in a lot of ways, which was really fun. But Alex and Darlington, they are the same as they were in the first book, which I kind of like. They, you know, they have such strong personalities already. They don't really need a lot of character development. There were some really great descriptions of the university, like Yale itself, obviously. It's a very, very beautiful place. These books are, you know, very much like quintessential dark academia. The quote that I wrote down was, "That was all there was in this world. No heroes or villains. Just the people you'd brave the waves for, and the ones you'd let drown." That is definitely where Alex's mind is. She's very much like a do or die, ride or die kind of person. Someone you definitely want as your friend, even though she can be kind of a bee sometimes. Once you get to the halfway point, I will say the build up, the beginning, it's kind of like stuff we already know. There's not like a whole lot of new information in like the first half, but the second half, like I was definitely ready to go and ready to get through to all the juicy stuff in the second half of the book. There was a little bit of that like will they, won't they sort of relationship tension between between Darlington and Alex, which was there a little bit in the first one. It's kind of hinted at in Ninth House. It's hinted at in this one too, which I kind of like reading about. I don't know. I think I've said before I don't like reading about that. I don't know. I'm glad that it wasn't focused on for very long, but it is, you know, hinted at. It's sprinkled in there a little bit. The ending definitely begs the question of, is there going to be a third one? I'm not actually sure. I did do a tiny bit of research on the TV show because I'm pretty pumped for that. I can definitely see myself getting more into the TV show than the books just because I'm such a visual person. So I hope that it has the vibe, same vibe as like The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the new one that came out. That would be really cool if it has those kind of vibes. We don't really know anything about it. They haven't released like actors who might be playing the characters. I don't even think they have a release date yet. Very excited to see who they get to play Alex. I feel like I keep imagining, I forget her name, Jenna something, the Wednesday Addams girl. Like I've been picturing her. I feel like she would be a good Alex. Just because she looks so pissed all the time. I don't know about Darlington. It would be so, I love like casting actors in my head and like picturing who would play them. I would love to do a review or like a comparison of like the TV show to the books one day. That would be difficult for me to do because I forgot so many details from Ninth House. I'm gonna link a video. I forget who did it. Somebody here on YouTube did a very thorough like Ninth House summary, like full of spoilers. Like she basically gives away the whole plot. I had to go back and watch that video when I was not very deep into this book because I realized there were people. I'm like, who are we talking about? Who is this person? Is this a new person? Is this somebody that we knew, like who was introduced in Ninth House? Like there was a lot that I forgot. If that is you, if you feel like, yeah, I don't really remember what happened, definitely watch that video. And there are some plot twists that happen in the second half of Hellbent that are not going to hit you the way that they would if you don't remember who certain characters were and what they did and what they were, how they were involved in the plot in the first one. I definitely forgot a lot. I think one of my favorite things about these books is the protagonist is Alex herself. Bardugo writes her in such a way that really delicately handles her trauma, and so many times she will have like a flashback and be feeling guilty about something, and Bardugo doesn't write it in a way that feels like she's throwing herself a pity party and you're like,
yeah, oh my gosh, we get it, you're so haunted.
She writes it very realistically. She feels like an actual real human. All of the little jabs that they share between each other, all the little comic lines that she throws in while, you know, the plot is very heavy and they're like literally, you know, trying to find a way into hell and there's demons and, you know, all this dramatic stuff happening, but those little punchlines of the characters making fun of each other, and that it keeps the tone overall like a little bit lighter, and it makes it, you know, more enjoyable. So overall, like I said, it was a 4.5 out of 5. I would definitely read a third. I won't say I felt like I'm not in a reading slump, but it's been a minute since I've been really excited about a book. Maybe I even need to take a break from reading for a bit. I don't know. Maybe it's just like a hangover thing from COVID. I know I've heard people talking about this on BookTube before, where our concentration is just no longer, it's not the same as it once was. It feels like there's so much happening in the world that I get easily distracted, and I find myself having to reread passages. I guess that's a conversation for a whole other video. I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.